50s. Married. Unhappy. I'm in my 50s. Been married for about 20 years. Have an elementary school aged daughter with my wife. Wife is a couple years younger and has increasingly severe rheumatoid arthritis, which she had when I met her around 22 years ago. When we were younger, she had a lot of energy more than me and we had a fun life. Well, all that has changed. The joints she had replaced before we met are deteriorating. Other joints are failing. And she's heavier than I've ever seen her. I'm sure she's what would be classified as morbidly obese, and not just a little. I'm mentioning the weight not to be mean or judgmental, but because it's keeping her from moving well, keeping her from getting surgery she needs, and doing more damage due to the physical stress of carrying it. I wouldn't care if it wasn't affecting her so negatively. We haven't had a sex life in years. I can live with that. 2. She's in enough pain that she's not real pleasant to live with most of the time. Harder to live with that one. Now she can't manage the bathroom on her own. I'm hopeful that's temporary, but I'm doubting it. We don't really have friends. Her family is worthless and mine is 100 miles away. I'm in fairly decent shape physically and reasonably good health, aside from the arthritis and associated orthopedic problems. She's healthy too. I've realized this week that I don't want to spend the rest of my life being her nurse. I just don't. I do most of the cooking, all the yard work, all the cleaning, laundry, and other housework, and work full time. I want to go places and do things, see the world, visit my family. I want to occasionally go to the office, and I need to go on the occasional every year or two business trip. I feel guilty thinking that I don't want to be married anymore, and despite myself I do still love and care about her, but I can't do this for another 20 plus years and waste what time I have left myself. There are 3 things keeping me here: guilt, the cat, and the daughter. The cat is old. The daughter will grow up. I just don't know what to do. Years ago my mom told my dad, "The booze or me. I'm not watching you kill yourself," and kicked him out when his decision was not no booze. Then she stayed by him the whole time he was dying from it anyway, before someone worries and starts making irrelevant suggestions. No, I'm not contemplating self-harm or anything. Please, someone say something helpful. Please don't read anything into the username. Reddit auto-generated it. Aita. They're both terrified of COVID. 2. So any bring other people in the house or even go out in public will be met with extreme skepticism or refusal. Also, we live in USA. Aita 2- what a lot of responses. Struggling to read them all, and it may take a day or two to respond where I want to. Thank you all. Well, most of you. I don't have much advice to help you. Ask your wife's doctors about any resources, social workers, etc. that can help guide you to them. I would even give a call to your county's office of the aging. If you have one, maybe they can help. Please watch out for your daughter. Do not make her your wife's caretaker when she is older. Tell your wife to get on board with this. That same feeling you have of being trapped, your daughter might feel it too, but might not be able to handle it. I would have her seeing a therapist now to process what she is seeing and to be prepared emotionally for what is coming. There will never be a singular or good answer, but I'm going to try to help you find a peace in this. There will be some callous perspectives, and I hope you can see them as non-judgmental observations, rather than attacks on anyone's position in this situation. What you've made here, what I read typed out in front of me, is the list of reasons your wife is worthy of love, sharing space with the list of reasons you don't feel like you can continue loving her. Both can be true. That is the horrible reality of what you're facing. You can love her and want the best for her, but absolutely not be the best for her. Replace the pronouns and you have your situation. Your wife can love you and want the best for you, but absolutely is not the best for you. Her limitations are not her fault. But it isn't enough or fair to say that you are bound to the limitations of another person's body. Your desires aren't carnal or illicit. You talk about wanting to do things that equate to average and comfortable lifestyle behaviors. Things even people with chronic pain do. These are things you should want. And specifically, these are things you need to teach your daughter to want. Sedentary parents raise sedentary children. and it's much more important that your daughter have a positive physical example than it is that you get to go on business trips. Do you get what I mean? Your mom set a proper duck-in example telling your dad to get his ass in line. For better or worse. Today I learned death do us part is not a statement that promises blind acceptance of every and all situations and changes in life. It means that, no matter what comes at the two of you, you'll face it, even when it's bad. Or slowly so, even when we become the problems of our own relationships. As much as it is on her to be responsible to her health and her body, it is your responsibility to hold her accountable to her choices. Who else in the whole entire world has the leeway and room to say the hard truths than you? Who has more chance to understand who they are talking to speak to her in the way she needs to hear? That is the real gritty truth of it. The hesitance in your writing is because you love her and you don't want leaving her to be the only way you have a life. If you want a life with her through this, you need to have your own "I'm not watching you kill yourself" conversation. As for your daughter, I will tell you this much. Who she is raised with is who she will grow to be like. If you fix this as a family, it will be a wonderful thing that will make you all stronger for it. We only grow by communicating and working together. But if fixing this place you find yourself in involves leaving, don't think for a second that your problems with your wife absolve you from the life of your daughter. Don't assume one iota that she is part of this, or that she'll ever forgive distance you put between yourselves. She won't understand the nuance and pain of this situation for years to come. You have a responsibility to her, no matter where your wife is. Finally, regarding your wife, she needs therapy, physical and mental. She needs the reins taken or forced into her hands by circumstance. She needs to regain control of the direction of her life and stop trying to live in a half world. She needs to understand the example she is setting for your child. You have done 1,000,001 efforts to pick up the slack for her and give her space she needed, and she's used it to make herself safer from addressing what impedes her life. Continuing along the path you are set on now will guarantee the life you say you fear. Talk to your wife. Teach your daughter better. Make better for yourself in whatever way you have to, but don't live an unhappy life aware of the ways it could change, while doing nothing to change it. That is the same thing your wife is doing. That hurts you so much to see. My dad has rheumatoid arthritis, so I have grown up watching how that affects someone. He maintained his weight and worked out all the time, water skied, travel, wasn't he in pain constantly? Yay. But he did, and continues to make the most of it. I think your wife's obesity is what is keeping her down. Arthritis can be managed with medication. I think you have a reasonable case to say I'm not gonna watch you slowly kill yourself and be nothing but your nurse until you die. This is not a partnership. I would tell her exactly how you feel, and if she is unwilling to change her lifestyle you need to give yourself permission to initiate a divorce. Your daughter will be fine. Better for her than growing up in a household full of resentment. You may want to consider therapy for yourself. Have you spoken to your wife? Perhaps some private counseling or therapy may help her. She could be not making the most of what she is still capable of because it's hard to accept things have slipped away. Maybe to her, she's resentful or even jealous of you despite on the flip side you doing all the work for the home. She may be depressed. You wrote an elementary aged child and that you've been married for 22 years, so you definitely sounds like you waited or struggled to have this kid when younger. Meaning maybe she has unresolved sadness or some kind of emotion about the delay and the kid is only in elementary school. But the mom figure which is so strong in society, well, she cannot do anything a normal mom should be able to do. However, maybe she is not doing what she is still capable of doing, at least on a good day. Does she still act happy or talk to your kid? Is the pain bearable that she can still connect with you and make jokes? Maybe she feels guilty for becoming so ill, but in a weird turn of events is actually not helping you with her not pleasant. If her pain is unbearable almost all the time, then maybe she truly cannot put aside and connect with you emotionally, like she just can't. It's not fair. Nope. Have you looked into if you can move your family closer to yours? At least you may have help with your daughter and to have family meals and such. I'm not sure if you knew what I guess possible disability your wife would come to in her later years when you met, before it got so bad. If you knew and assumed you can handle it and realize now how hard it is, then well, if you must, then focus at least on your daughter. If you are so unhappy, she will sense it. If your wife needs to be put in assisted living eventually, then be dutiful in what way you can. Surely she will be sad and resentful, but you also have a kid to prioritize. I would not remarry or have a girlfriend, just be a single dad with a wife in assisted living you got to care for. That's just my opinion. If you both or one didn't know how bad it would get, then similar to above, but more forgiving in terms of you didn't know. There is a film similar about this. The husband is burning out from caregiving, usually it's the faithful wife who stays to the end. But for you it's flipped. I wish I recalled the title. Do try to talk to your wife. Try a few times, and in different ways. She might try to shut you down due to just ignoring. Is easier even if facing the truth is actually helpful. Google and look up support groups for caregiver burnout. Please talk to her about this. Let her know your concerns. All that you have listed here. It's better to potentially hurt her feelings now than to just up and leave one day without having discussed any of your concerns previously. That would be more damaging. And I can tell you that divorce is extremely traumatizing for kids of any age. You should really think about your kid first. I understand wanting to have a better quality of life, but you must really think about the consequences for your daughter's sake. If you still love and care about your wife, then there is hope that it can work and she can change. If she knows you may leave, then she might get it together. People can change by ultimatum. The American lifestyle is unfortunate these days. So many people sick and ill with weight problems. Sounds like she is a product of her environment. I've been there and I have overcome it. There is hope. I'm sorry you're going through this. You're right though. You should enjoy the time you have left. Maybe you both could start by seeing a doctor and getting just a baseline of where you both are health-wise. From there start trying to lose weight and eat healthier together. Once she loses the weight, she shouldn't hurt as bad. There's also medications that could help with her rheumatoid arthritis. If she won't consider medicine, maybe she will consider seeing a physical therapist. Swimming is a really great exercise for the disease she has. This could be something worth tackling together instead of just giving her ultimatum. It sounds like you both really love each other, and age is just getting the best of her. I hope things get better for you. Bariatric surgery might be a good option for her. RAP prevents her from being active, and depression is probably causing her to eat as a way to self-soothe. I'd honestly start with counseling for all of you. Chronic illness is no joke, and it takes its toll on the entire family. Not sure how good her rheumatologist is, but there are lots of immune suppressing medications and one may be right for her. Movement does help, and the autoimmune protocol diet has helped alleviate symptoms for many people. Might not hurt to try it out. I wish you luck in whatever you decide. I do hope you include your wife in the discussion, though. Counseling can help you all make decisions and figure things out. If you're not happy, she knows it. You can't be married to someone that long and not notice every subtle and not so subtle aspect of your spouse's personality and mood. If you're honest with her, you're not going to be telling her something she doesn't already know. That's the hardest part, because you don't want to hurt her. But trust me when I say you're doing a lot more harm by staying in a relationship you no longer want to be in. She deserves the truth. Finding happiness with someone else isn't outside of the realm of possibilities for either one of you, is it? All you're doing by not being upfront is delaying the inevitable, and a chance for both of you meet someone else to find happiness with. It will break you down, and when it does, you will resent her, as if it's her fault. That resentment will spill out, and you'll hurt her far more than if you would just be honest with her. Tell her, so you both can move on and start to heal. I wish you both the very best, and please don't feel bad about how you no longer want to be with your wife. You've done nothing wrong. Happiness with someone isn't set in stone. It's fleeting, and has to be maintained in order for it to have a chance to thrive. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.